Hello, everybody. Welcome back, folks. Another year. You guys know the vibes. It's my favorite time of the year to do this bullshit keynote rankings. I'm here live in a undisclosed Oklahoma garage. These people just kidnapped me one day. I said, fuck it, sure. The camera lady won the ever battle of who's going to move where. But, still repping Ohio, just saying, the vibes, at least we beat Biatchkin this year. So I'm happy. And especially because we're going to have a lot of my boys in this here rankings. But, I wanted to start different. I wanted to stay more motivated and more energized for these rankings. So I'm doing the linemen first because you guys know I spend the most time, 6, 7, 800 hours watching film of them. And just to keep it fresh, because after a while the keynotes do get a little tedious, and then the videos, and then shocker, this is my take two because I had a whole issue with Zoom and getting this little camera layout over the keynotes that I always do. It doesn't work this year for whatever reason. We're not going to waste any time. We're starting off with tackles first, then guards and centers. Some of these tackles, with their arm length and all that other bullshit, they might move to guard, so just work with me, folks. You guys know how it is. We're starting off with 10, Drew Shelton out of Penn State. Drew and pretty much everyone on the Penn State team, the Penn State team in general, they were supposed to be way better than they were this year, championship contenders, but, just weird losses, injuries. James Franklin probably, one foot out the door. Let me just get the fuck out of here. They all hate me anyway. Whatever reason, they didn't complete the trifecta for the Big Ten, but Indiana did. So, size freaks, you guys already know the vibes. With the first dot there, projection 3rd to 4th round, sure. That's usually where good to developmental prospects, tackle-wise, end up. They're not too highly touted, but they're still you never know. Might as well try it out. Pros, good athleticism, good mover for a guy his size, smart player. I think he can pick up NFL offenses and work with line. And have you nots and have you bees. Lower strength is an issue, just his lower base, foot, digging foot onto the ground and whatnot, and just overall consistency. I guess that's a tale for the whole team and every player on said team this year. But he was very touted in 2024, so I to a fault, I sometimes still hold people higher in rankings than they should be. If last year they were supposed to be a potential first second round pick. So I think we got a Christian Darrisaw, who was a first-round pick, and, I guess split opinions, I would say. Maybe I still think he's a fairly good tackle. I wonder if Drew could potentially go to guard or right, left tackle, how versatile he is in that end. We'll see. Same thing with Austin Barber. Just look at him, you think, with his arm length, they'll probably move him down to guard, but for right now, I got him right here. Pretty good foot speed, good hand timing. When the ball's snapped, he really gets in there, gets ferocious with him. It gets damn near deadly. But pad level, he could improve that. Just more bend to him, more technique on the footwork. And have you not? Does this make sense, folks? Player comp, I got Ezra Cleveland. I think you guys know when I do comps, I either, whatever first comes to mind for me, or I look around to other people who are way better at this than I am, and whatever clicks for me, I could see it there. Or with the lineman, it's literally just, can I get a name that people remember? That most of us will know, because even I proclaim that I'm a way better intelligent football fan than most, I still I can't name you the third string guard from the Falcons, so I try to get a leveled comp of Ezra Cleveland. He played for a little bit, he was a starter. I think Barber can develop into that, nothing extreme, no Pro Bowlers, but fuck it. I hope because he does that, he jinxes me. Next, we got Max Ionacker Ionacker out of Arizona State. I think I pronounced it the same fucking way. I tried my best to find the actual pronunciation out of him. I didn't see an interview from him to where he was telling us, and then other draft nerds, they pronounced it like 5 different times, different ways. So I did, whatever. We're gonna stick with this bigger guy. He's the big athlete project for linemen that NFL teams are gonna salivate over. For whatever reason, I'm not high on the big athletic projects for linemen as I am to like quarterbacks or other positions. Like I'm just a little more cautious, I guess, because line is such an integral part that I just want like a sure thing that I can put in there right away and can play, and not kill the quarterback. Don't know why. Maybe my evaluations will change, so you'll see him higher on a lot of people's boards than me. But I still think he's a fluid mover. Pretty good base to him, has good angles, and of course we all know what that means as offensive linemen, so I don't have to go into deep details with that. He isn't the quickest processor though, for the edge rusher. When he attacks, he might not have a plan, and then just getting down to the second level, so, for the running game especially, hitting linebackers or nickel corners, just creating more of a wall, a hole for the guy. A comp of Taylor Moton. He's a tackle for the Carolina Panthers. He's been there since 2017. Fairly average starter. Maybe hit a ceiling that people thought he would be better than. So we'll see if Max can be better in that aspect. I want to see if he has some versatility to him too. I don't know if he played multiple positions. But we're going to go to, a safer guy to me, who I think is more a sure thing, is Caleb Tiernan out of Northwestern. Second to third round pick. Good technique, good discipline, smart guy, It isn't the most athletic, but just sure heavy-handed. It isn't the most athletic again, so it isn't as flexible, bending and stretching and, whipping guys really, and, doesn't have the biggest range to him, which unfortunately, they might, if he's good at guard, he's, let's play him there if that's what he's best at, but the whole arm thing, the whole Will Campbell fiasco with T-Rex arms, and, I don't know, you guys know I was tired of it last year, and I know Will got destroyed in the Super Bowl, but he played good for most of the beginning half of the season and had some injuries, and I saw someone after the Super Bowl, it was a former player, he was saying it was more of his technique than just his arms. So, if for me is if the arm issue is really a thing, is really that big of a deal, then these guys would be undraftable. Like, why would you even waste picks on these guys? So, saw Morgan Moses comp. Sure, he can be just a strong, old, reliable tackle for, 10 plus years. Maybe not have the highest of highs as him, but good enough, He's a good guy, good pal, smart guy. He does charity, I believe. Number 6, a guy I like a lot, Blake Miller out of Clemson. Second round, could maybe sneak in the first round, I could see it. Good footwork, good IQ, nimble, he's like a bear on a treadmill, or not a treadmill, a unicycle, the fucking Circus Olay shit. Yeah, just smart guy, knows how to play the game of football, but his play strength for a guy, 6'7", I need him to be more aggressive, just a little more aggressive. I think he has it in him. We'll see how it translates to NFL edges, because they're, bigger, stronger, faster. Same thing with his pad level. Good, just be in position. I just want to see how that will translate and the bend to him, and if he'll be able to hold up enough. Roger Rosengarten is a name that people might know, so I said, fuck it, put it there, just a quality-ish starter. He's number 6, by the way. Something happened to where that messed up. So yeah, let's let's continue with Monroe Freeling out of Georgia. He is climbing up boards. I'm just not there yet. Mostly because I've always been higher on these guys. So now that he had a great 40, I'm not, or combine. You guys know that combines and pro days and Senior Bowl practices, they don't change my opinion. That's why I've been doing some of these before they even happen, just so I can really like emphasize that like that's not putting any weight into my rankings and whatnot. But I hear it. I'm sure he will go first round to second if if all things go bad. Good, great athleticism. He's one of the better movers here. Active hands, always. He's always picking up shit. I'm like, dude, calm down. He's always trying to find something to grab. He's like a toddler. I live with my 2-year-old niece now. She's always touching shit. That's the way he's just always active, just active hands. The leverage though, he can get off balance and drift out of the pocket to where away from the form, the U pocket you ideally want, to where it can open up a big hole either way. If someone can do a really good spin move, Dwight Freeney shit, they could get old Gunner Stockton. So if he stays more aligned, Anthony Costanzo, though, good potential, good athlete. Again, I don't know with how his career went, if it was as good as people thought he was going to be coming out, but he played a fairly long career for the Colts, I believe. So, yeah. So Freeling there, I think he'll primarily just be a tackle. As we go to Caden Proctor, big fucking bastard over here. Another. This is the only time where I can do this old meme now. First round pick, sure, I could see him falling to early second, but again, this is a guy who could potentially switch over to guard if they don't think he's fast enough to do that. Strong base, good finisher, just when he really is dialed in and wants to, he can, just be that strong anchor you need. But, the leverage, the angles, he can get a little off balance, and faster edge rushers might just be able to just get past him, and he doesn't know where to be at. Mekhi Becton comp, I saw it, I liked it because big giant tackle who I believe I liked a lot when he came out. I don't know if I was doing this at his time. I'll go back and look. But he moved over to guard and, won a Super Bowl with the Eagles and got paid by the Chargers. So we'll see if he has that same trajectory. I guess there's a bust capability to all these guys, but I mean, he'll probably be the one that people are very alert and cautious on. But put him in the right system. I think any of these guys will be fine. As number 3, another namesake, Caleb Lomu out of Utah. First to second, he's one of the younger guys. I believe a true junior or a redshirt sophomore. Good foot speed, good balance, a fairly strong or smart player as well. Who picks up fast. I think I like him. He might be my favorite tackle out of this class. Just of what I think he can be. Maybe not the best of all of them, but like a sure young guy who can keep developing, don't quit on, and will be a good solid piece for you. Again, just like with Blake, I need more play strength. I need more tenacity. He's not the twitchiest. He's not the most athletic. I think of a guy like Walker Little, who's always been in the rotation for the Jags, I believe. And did he finally get traded? But I definitely think he has a higher ceiling as my battery is dying. Yeah, he's still on the Jags. Started 39 games, played 70. I think he'll be more of a foundation piece. Maybe wait a year or two to fully get him as a starter. But once he is, he'll be a good solid rock for you. As number 2, we got Spencer Fanu out of Utah, another guy who they might move over to guard, might move over to center. He's played all positions. That's a pro to me. I just need the 5 best linemen. Especially that 2024 Ohio State year when people were getting injured. I'm like, just give me the five best. There was a point where we had like a center. It was like 2021 CJ Stroud. We had like four tackles playing. Like we had Pierce Johnson at guard. We had Munford at guard when they were more tackles. Like, just give me the five best. I don't care. I think he can hold up at tackle. If not, he'd probably be two or one for my guards and centers. Just very good athleticism, good hands. He can go to the second level. Isn't the strongest, and his timing can get off balance. That's why I'd probably say people are concerned about him staying at tackle. Consistently going against Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons and Bosa's and the Watts of the world. But I don't know, man. I just think he's gonna be a good player. I don't see him being terrible at any position. So Rashawn Slater might be a giant comp that people might not like. I don't know. That's the only one that like came up that I was like, sure. Like, I really, he's had injury histories. It's not like he's, bona fide the best ever. He's great when he's healthy. But I believe Spencer can be that way. So yeah, we'll have him at 2, and then we got Francis Moenga. I think it's pronounced an N. The IG Moena out of the U. First round pick. He's been my first round, or my first tackle this whole year. Nothing really deterred me from switching up on him. So yeah, pros, good strength, good base, good power to him. It isn't the fastest laterally. His technique can get cleaned up. But I like a Talise Fuaga comp. I don't have much cons on him. Like, I was looking for it, just none that like make me really like concerned about him. So I just think he's been the most consistent tackle for maybe 2 years. So yeah. And just like that, we're back, folks. 3 days later, back injury, a little lower. Who cares? We're just act like I was here this whole time. I was yapping about Francis. He's been my tackle of this class since like last year, like before we even knew anyone else was coming out. Let's just go to the guards, get this shit over with. Guards and centers. We got Logan Jones here, center out of Iowa. Projection 5th round pick. Who knows? Who cares what these guys? Just fuck it. They're happy to be there. Just give them some food. Pros, highly intellectual, unlike me. Great toughness. Just farmer, strong, Midwest guy. Just surefire. I believe he won the Remington this year, so he's the best center in the nation. Yeah, just typical Midwestern lineman, interior lineman, So he lacks the athleticism, isn't the strongest. You already know people are going to talk about his wingspan. We get it, yada yada. Jake Brendel, your favorite, my favorite, everyone's favorite center. He plays for that one team that one time. I said put it on the keynote, folks. 9, we got Billy Sheriff out of Notre Dame. Who cares? Center, I think he could play guard too. Good physicality to him. Good grip strength. No pause on that. He could be a little quicker on the mobility laterally. On pulls. I know he's coming back from an injury. That's also why he might be a little lower for me and some other people, but I think 4th round, maybe even, he could sneak up in there. You never know with these lineman injuries. Like, I was a big Andrew Voorhees fan a couple years ago, if you guys remember, from the Ravens. He was like a second to third round potential, but the injury was like 6th round, and then Zenter from Michigan a couple years ago also had an injury. So I don't know if that will drastically move him down boards or not. But Dalton Reisner comp, who's a guy who's been a good rotational backup to potential starter sometimes for the Bungles. that could be his floor. I think he could be a little bit better than that, but we're being modest here in the King Kaleb Productions as we got Sam hiked out of Kansas State, 4th to 5th round again. Who cares? Good technique, good form to him, great leverage, lower body control. Lacks the range though. Again, it's probably because of the arm length, but he's still one of the better centers in this class. Good play strength. I think he could potentially play some guard too, personally. Bradley Bozeman. It's a fun name, catchy name. I said put it on the keynote. Who gives a shit? 7, potentially a lot of people's top center. Definitely the most athletic one in this here class is Jake Slaughter out of Fladia. 3rd and 4th round pick. Good athleticism. Good pad level. He knows how to go to the second level pretty fast. Help the run game out. Again, though, just some of these linemen, they need more aggressiveness. More. At least that's what they're telling me. That they think they're all pussies. I get you want a edgy lineman to you, but of course you don't want a bunch of holding calls. So it's a duality, folks. He can improve his angles a little bit, but I think of Garrett Bradbury, and again, I think these guys might have more potential than these comps that I'm giving, but just a level, simple thing that you can just like see in your head that these guys might potentially be. 6, dear God, Keelan Rutledge out of Georgia Tech. I believe he's the brother of Tate Rutledge, I want to say, from Georgia, like last year, a couple years ago. 3rd to 4th round pick. He has toughness. He has some moxie to him. Good power. As I'm looking up his potential brother. No, that was Ratledge. All right, this is Rutledge. I am a idiot, folks. But good tech, can get some better technique. Just foot placement, hand placement, where to really get up in your pad level. Christian Mahogany, another fun name. I believe a couple of years ago, he was in my rankings. Pretty good athleticism, too. I don't want to shortchange him on that. He's climbing boards, I've noticed, so keep an eye out on him. He might be even higher than what I'm projecting to be. My favorite center, or at least the center I think is the best right now, is Connor Liu out of Auburn. Good mobility, so good athleticism to him too. Downfield blocks and gap schemes. Good hand usage too, knows how to get up in ya. Footwork can get better, and just all around consistency, especially in the pass blocking game. Now, I'm the biggest Jackson Arnold fan, and when I mean biggest, I mean the only one still going on. And he can definitely hold on to the ball way too long. But I don't know, I just don't think the line he's ever really had a great line pass blocking wise to help him. But I could just be an idiot. But I think he can clean up on some things. But Zach Tom, who now I believe is on the Clowns, had a pretty good payday. Has some guard versatility. We'll see if Connor does, but I think he is. I think he's smart enough. He's just the most well-balanced center to me in this class. That's why I have him this high. As we got Chase Bicentis, Bicionis, I think, as I say it. That's fancy. Out of Texas A&M, 2nd or 3rd. He could be a little higher. I wouldn't be mad at you. Good balance, good hand strength. Can be a good, solid anchor for you. You think of Cooper Beebe along the lines of that. The lateral quickness and fluidity, though, you want him to be a little bit more nimble on his feet. He's a big guy, but I think he can move a little better than what he might have shown on tape. I think he had a fairly good combine, as if, not that I give a fuck, but I saw him moving a little bit, so we'll see how that translates to NFL competition. As we got Jennings Dunker as my 3rd guard, because everyone is already moving him to guard. NFL.com did it. Now, of course, he played tackle at Iowa. but because of the arm lengths and what have you, just like with, you know, Proctor and Fano and Tiernan, who I was saying could potentially go to guard. I already, you know, just put him guard. Fuck it. He would have been like my 7th tackle, so I have him all the way up to 3rd here because of the versatility. Heavy hands, you know, powerful arms, good strength to him. It's just the foot quickness and the pad level, you know, that's why he might not be able to handle NFL edge rushers consistently. So I think if you move him down there, he's like my boy Mason McCormick. Again, maybe even better, but, you know, pretty good, solid guard for the Steelers, who we got in later rounds. 3rd round, 4th round, I could see it. Maybe even 2nd round. These teams are desperate. I don't know what the consensus is on this lineman class, whether people like it or not. Not that much in the 1st round, I've noticed. Maybe like 4 to 5 of these guys have been named that could potentially go. So we'll see. As the top 2 should be consensus, and the only 2 guards that I'd see really getting into the 1st round is Emmanuel Pregnon out of Oregon. 1st to 2nd, you know, late 1st, early 2nd, definitely. Good hand strength, agility. I like his motor. Tough player. Transferred from USC, I believe, and maybe some other schools. If any of these other people transferred, I forgot, or just don't give a fuck enough. He could be a little stiff. You know, just the hip movements, you know, and his balance. So just get the leg, you know. Like I always tell these big boys, need to start skateboarding or something. Surfboard, surfboard, you know, doing shit like that. Kevin Dotson, another former Steeler who turned out and was awesome for the Rams. I don't know where the fuck that came from, but happy for him nonetheless. Again, think he has a little higher of an upside, but I mean, that's a good base. I don't see him being a bust. Let's knock on wood. And hopefully he has a good long career. As my boy Vega Awane, let's try to say the whole name, folks. Vavenga Awane, I think it's that. I heard it was pronounced the Vega, there's an N. So Vavenga Awane, Penn State, folks. The shout out to all my Samoans. It shouldn't be this hard for us to say these names, especially with all the foreign white basketball players, and, you know, people can say Giannis Antetokounmpo, Tua Tagovailoa, DJ Uyunglele. Like, I mean, we got to do a better job at pronouncing these fellers' names. You know what I'm saying? But definitely 1st round pick. I think the more and more people are looking at him, he's probably gonna be top 20. I don't see him getting out of like the first top 25 picks. Great hands, great base, just an anchor at that position. You know, isn't the fastest because he's a bigger guy, stands tall, so he doesn't have the flexibility that you'd want necessarily, or you'd want it to improve. You know, I don't think he's gonna be a bum. Osiris Torrance, I believe a couple years back, was my number 1 guard when he came out. I saw the comps. Steve Avalia, another comp I saw, I like a lot. So, yeah, this has been my big fuck fellas list. Keep that out of context for anyone. Yeah, I don't know what position I'll do next. Probably the linebacker or safety. I already have the linebacker list. My top 10 done. And in the keynotes, I just have to put in the honorable mentions. And then I think I have the same thing with my quarterbacks, but I want to save them for a little bit in the middle, because, you know, it's going to be an hour-long video. And propagandas will ensue. So we're back at it, folks, in Oklahoma. With your boy King Kaleb here, signing the fuck out.